Today, we're going to walk through a guide for a journey that, well, no family ever expects they'll have to take. This is all about finding some solid ground when it feels like everything is shifting right under your feet, based on a manual for families facing juvenile ALS. This is how parents often describe that moment of diagnosis. It's such a simple sentence, but it perfectly captures that feeling of complete disorientation, that sense that the world you thought you knew is just gone. So let's start right there, trying to understand that shifting ground. Our first step is to look at the diagnosis itself, what it means, and maybe even more importantly, what it doesn't mean. Okay, so what exactly is juvenile ALS? At its core, it's a rare neurological disease. And what it does is it targets the motor neurons. You can think of those as the messengers or the command lines that run from the brain to your muscles, telling them what to do. And when those messages get disrupted, it changes how the body moves. And just think about how fundamental those commands are. We're talking about the things we all do without a second thought, right? Walking, talking, using our hands, even breathing. And this is exactly why the disease has such a profound physical impact. And this right here is probably the most important thing to hold on to. The source material says it again and again. While the disease changes what a body can do, it doesn't touch who the person is. Their personality, their intelligence, their humor, their spirit, all of that remains. All right, let's shift from the clinical side of things to the deeply personal. In this next part, we're going to explore the emotional reality of this diagnosis, not just for the child, but really for the entire family. For parents, hearing this news just unleashes a cascade of emotions. It's overwhelming, and honestly, a lot of it can feel contradictory. You can feel shock and fear sitting right next to this fierce, intense protectiveness and just this surge of love. And it's so important to know that all of it is a totally normal response to an unimaginable situation. This next idea really reframes a tough emotion in a beautiful way. Parents aren't just grieving what's happening now. They're grieving the future they had imagined for their child. The guide calls this an expression of love. Mourning those lost milestones, it's a testament to just how deeply that child is loved. Of course, the child at the center of all this is trying to make sense of it too, and they do it in really different ways depending on how old they are. Younger kids tend to focus on the here and now. Why are my legs weak? But teenagers, they're grappling with the huge questions, the big stuff, loss of independence, their identity, what their future is going to look like. So with all this emotional complexity swirling around for parents and for kids, what's the single most helpful thing you can actually do? I think we all feel this immense pressure to say the perfect thing, to find some magic words that will make it all better. But the source material is very clear. That's not it. The real gift, it's just being present. It's about creating a safe space where your child can say whatever they're thinking, feel whatever they're feeling without any judgment, without you trying to fix it. It's about simply being there. Okay, so let's pivot from the emotional to the practical, because a huge part of this journey is navigating the medical system. It pretty much requires you to become the coordinator of a very complex team. And what a team it is. I mean, this is just a quick snapshot, but it really shows you that this takes a whole village of specialists. Each one plays a critical role in managing symptoms and maximizing quality of life, from helping with breathing to maintaining mobility. And speaking of quality of life, technology plays a massive role. And this isn't just about medical care. This is about preserving autonomy, preserving a voice. Things like eye-tracking devices or voice banking technology. These are game changers that allow a child to stay connected to their world. So that medical team is just one piece of a much bigger circle of care. The truth is, this journey is just too demanding to walk alone. And that brings us to our next section, building a support network. And a key, sometimes overlooked part of that network is the family itself, especially siblings. They're on their own emotional roller coaster, dealing with really complicated feelings, worry, guilt, sometimes even jealousy. The guide stresses how vital it is to carve out time just for them and to make it clear that their feelings matter too. For a lot of parents, asking for help can feel like admitting defeat, like you're not strong enough. But it's so important to reframe that. Accepting help is not a weakness. It is a smart, practical response to a situation that is simply too much for any one person to handle alone. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Self-care for a parent in this situation isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. If you're going to provide loving, sustained care for your child, you have to find ways to replenish your own energy. You just have to. So where does all of this lead? Well, our final section is about the path forward.
And it's a path that's defined not by a cure, but by presence, hope, and love.
This might be one of the most liberating messages in the entire guide. When you're facing this huge challenge, the pressure to be perfect, to do everything just right, it can be absolutely crushing. But that's not what's needed here.
More than perfection, more than having all the answers, what your child needs is your presence. They need a parent who is simply fully there with them, right in that moment, whether it's a good one or a bad one. And that's really the ultimate takeaway. The journey is uncertain, the path is hard, but the most powerful thing a parent can do is just walk it alongside their child. That shared journey, that unwavering presence, that's the most profound expression of love there is.